Hey guys, Rebel Good 95, reporting live from the local county prison cell. If you're wondering about the camera angle, this device that I'm using to record is plugged in and charging because I've been having a lot of trouble charging these things lately, and I'm not going to pull it out so I can be more mobile. The charger, that is. I'm not going to pull out the charger so I can be more mobile about it and risk it not, being able to charge when I plug it back in. So, yeah, this angle will have to do, I guess. So yeah, I'm doing another one of those returning to, like characters that I've already had in other fights. And, this one's really like, okay, I did Afro Samurai versus Samurai Jack. The episode I'm doing right now is Samurai Jack versus Kenshin Himura, or Ronin Kenshin, or Kenshin the Wand, or whatever the fuck you want to call him. I'm not gonna do Kenshin versus Afro Samurai. I'm not gonna do a potential three-way death battle. I'm not going to do Mitsurugi. I'm not going to do Yoshimitsu. Well, I already did Yoshimitsu, but still. I'm not going to do, like, a six-way samurai fight, alright? This is it. This one I think is better than Samurai Jack versus Afro Samurai. So, let's start here. Kenshin. By the way, I'm gonna call him Kenshin Himura, not Ronin Kenshin, just because I mean, that's what I know him better as than, But, Kenshin. The problem with this angle is I tend to, gather my thoughts a little, and with this, it looks like I'm ignoring, it looks like I'm striking a pose, like a Captain Morgan sort of thing, so, yeah, so Kenshin, once known as the Manslayer, being, through war and all that shit, but, decided he wanted to embark on creating an era of peace, so he turned his blade around. And at first when they said that he made himself a reverse blade, I thought he meant he, took the blade out and, put it in, upside down. And I'm like, well, how is that? It's still, the edge is still there. No, they mean he just put the blade in backwards. Which makes me wonder why he doesn't just hold the blade the other way, but, whatever. So yeah, his blade is backwards, meaning the flat or non-sharpened edge of the blade is what he is hitting people with. Now, you might think, well, how can he win fights while he does that? Well, he's still one of the most awesome people ever with swords. So there's that. He's adapted himself to be able to perfectly predict people's movements just based on, body language and muscle. And, yeah, I got really sunburned, by the way. Probably shouldn't be wearing a muscle shirt, but whatever. He's capable of reading people's movements just based on the, movement of their muscles and the, so you move to attack, he knows what you're going to do. It's almost scary how, how he does that. And also, despite using the non-sharp part of the blade, he's found, he's made himself able to cut down trees, he's able to cut through stone pillars, he's cut through, he's famous for breaking other people's swords despite not using a sharp sword. He's famous for breaking through people's, not hilts, they're technically, the hilt is through the, scabbard, sorry. Sheath, scabbard, whatever I always called it a scabbard. That's more of a medieval era sword thing. I guess a sheath is technically more of what you would call the cover for a samurai, for a katana, but, I call it a scabbard, so whatever. He's been known to break through those, he's been known to break through swords, He's cut through walls, and the more famous thing, more than his technique, well, his technique and power are definitely noted, his most recognizable attribute, his most effective attribute, probably, I should say, is his speed. This guy is known to, in bursts, he can't just, like, run at super speed, but in like, short little bursts, he can move faster than the human eye can follow. That, you know, so that he's just like a blur when he moves, to the point where people, you know, deny him being human because no human should be able to move that fast. So we are talking about a fast, very proficient, very deadly, you know, sword fighter with insane amounts of power when it comes to Kenshin. Now let's talk about Samurai Jack. You know what, actually? No, I think I'm gonna save Jack's analysis for the fight analysis. So I'm gonna start the fight analysis now. Jack wins. I'm sorry, there's no way. He's Samurai Jack. What more do you want? There's no way he's losing this. Completely ignoring the fact that Kenshin's weapon is designed to not kill people. Let's talk about, okay, even though Kenshin has beat some of the greatest warriors, some of the greatest assassins in his time period, Jack, on a daily basis, fights bounty hunters, robots, mutants, combinations of all those three things, giant monsters, the greatest warriors of the future, mythical creatures, gods, and the all-powerful and evil shape-shifting master of darkness, Aku. On a regular basis, this guy fights this shit. And doesn't lose his cool. Except for those times that he lost his cool. But still, he gets mad, but he's still, like, you know, he fights dragons and then walks into town like, hello, can I have some water? Or some shit. Like, he doesn't even flinch. Plus the fact that, you know, he went into the forest, saved some spherical monkeys. Yeah, why wouldn't you? And then they, in turn, taught him how to jump over 100 feet in the air by tying tons of rocks to his body and making him, like, maneuver his way around the forest until he could jump hundreds of feet into the air. Then, in the one point where he had to fight to the death in a gladiatorial arena, but not to the death because he's Samurai Jack, he had a 700-ton, I did not misread, 700-ton sumo wrestler land on him after jumping over 100 feet in the air and landing on him, and survived. And not only that, was pretty not flattened by the experience. This guy had 1,400,000 pounds fall on top of him, and just like, oh man, that sucks, wow. Instead of being all, I'm dead, yeah, instead of saying that, he just went, he was groggy, after having 700 tons fall on top of him. I mean, swordsmanship, they're probably equal. But I'd say Jack's sword, I mean, Kenshin's main focus in a fight is to break the enemy's sword, which he wouldn't be able to do with Jack, because, oh yeah, by the way, his sword is magic, because it was forged by gods. 3 specific gods, Odin, Vishnu, and Ra. You know, some of the most powerful gods in mythology, but whatever. You know, Jack And, you know, so yeah, it's specifically indestructible. Though it cannot cut through beings also endowed by righteous magic. Yeah. Jack has also, you know, been taught, or he has somewhat mastered most skills just by being taught by the masters of those skills. Like, he learned archery from Robin Hood. He learned wrestling from the ancient Greeks, despite the fact that there was a multi-millennia difference between those two things. And Robin Hood was not a real character, but whatever. He was taught staff fighting by, you know, African, you know, natives. He was taught how to ride a horse, you know, in Arabia. He was taught how to read and write most languages in Egypt, despite the fact that they wouldn't really know most languages in Egypt. He was taught astronomy by sailors. He was taught, you know, mountain climbing by Himalayan people. He was taught Shaolin Kung Fu by the Shaolin. So, just based on experience and like, holy shit, how does this guy do this? Yeah, I mean, this is a guy who evades laser fire just like as if it were, you know, a brisk jog through the park. I'm sorry, Jack's not losing. He's not. Again, you know, even if Kenshin didn't have a blade that makes it really hard to kill people, he even had the intent to kill somebody once with a blade that he thought was a regular blade, so he tried to kill the other person, and he couldn't because it was a reverse blade. So these blades make it really hard for him to kill someone. Apparently you can cut through solid stone, but not people, but not cut through person. So yes. But yeah, Jack's winning this. I really cannot see Jack losing this. Just based on everything Jack has done. It's sort of the guts versus nightmare factor. It's like, yeah, you know, Nightmare's really awesome and impressive, but Guts literally defies, sorry, assholes outside, but anyway, Guts, you know, literally does the impossible every day. That's Jack, but like 10,000 times more and in the future. So, yeah. Jack wins. There's really no, I don't really think you can debate this at this point. You can say like, oh, well, Kenshin was one of the most warriors. Well, Jack was one of the greatest warriors ever, and he got put into a time period where he should have been made obsolete, but isn't. So yeah, Jack wins. Rebel Engine 95. See you guys later. And why is this not, okay? Let's try that again. Rebel Engine 95. See you guys.